This is TWiT.
Fascinating. Have you been following the FAA, FCC airline battle that's been going on over 5G? This week it came to a head, of course, the Verizon and AT&T, who between the two of them spent billions of dollars for this frequency in an FCC auction, are about to turn on those 5G towers, the C-band towers. FAA, airline manufacturers, airlines and airplane manufacturers say, wait a minute, you're going to break our altimeters. Wait a minute. Planes are going to come out of the sky. They put a hold on it. AT&T, Verizon, FAA said, can you put a hold on it? They said, well, we'll give you a week or two. Anyway, it's starting to roll out. Wednesday was the day. So far, no planes have fallen out of the sky, but maybe some planes aren't flying. I'll read you. It's very tempting to blame the manufacturers or blame the FAA or blame the FCC. I'll read you something that shows you there's enough blame to go around on this one. This is from JUCADRP on Reddit. It was one of the Reddit best ofs, and I thought it was the best thing I've read explaining this. Airplanes are equipped with radar altimeters. They use radar on the frequency between 4,200 and 4,400 megahertz. These 5G towers, these C-band towers, are 3,700, 3,980 megahertz. There's no overlap. But, and this is the problem, there's a filter in order to protect the frequencies that the radar is using so it doesn't get interfered with by other, there's a filter. But the filter is set because thanks to a decades-old design, no one else was using this frequency to overlap with this 5G frequency. It doesn't need to, but it does. So 5G radio could confuse these altimeters. That could be, of course, a big hazard for an airplane. So, in fact, there's here from 5G Technology World is a graph that shows these bands. So the altimeter, can you show that, John? There you go. The altimeter is this yellow thing. This is the frequency it needs. This is where the 5G band is. Unfortunately, this green line, that's the filter. So because of this old, and it is admittedly an antiquated design, and we should point out that these 5G towers, this spec is 10 years old. They knew this was coming, but they never fixed the altimeters. Yeah, they never. It's infuriating. Yeah. So basically, the altimeter opens a channel to listen to radar, but it ends up listening not just to radar but to 5G. At the time they were designed, there was nothing there. There is now. And in fact, modern filters could easily be put on these things that would eliminate this problem entirely. This guy in Reddit writes, the aviation industry had time to retrofit their airplanes, and now they are, sorry to be blunt, playing dumb. They know they can hold the nations hostage by saying this will disrupt flights in the middle of a pandemic. Obviously, safety is paramount, but carriers paid $81 billion for these frequencies because they were not in use. So they paid $81 billion for exclusive use of these frequencies. The aviation industry is basically arguing they want to take over more than they need, more than they're even allocated to operate these altimeters. So, and then to defend the aviation industry, one of the reasons air travel is so safe these days is because they are not, throwing stuff in willy-nilly. And so you can't just go change all those altimeters. And then, you want to test it and so forth. So you can't change it overnight. They have had a little more.
If only we had 10 years to test it.
They had 10 years.
Yeah. I've been seeing 5G demos since 2012, so it is it's ridiculous that this thing, the point where these carriers are also getting to where they can actually get the fast speeds they've been promising for so long, this is apparently a big roadblock for them. It's just kind of hilarious.
This C-band, this is an ultra-wideband.
No, this is kind of this is kind of in between
mid-band.
Sub-6 and millimeter wave. I wrote about this in my column last week about what it meant for AT&T and Verizon, which are the two that are using it. They've kind of essentially been behind T-Mobile because T-Mobile has a mid-band that it got from Sprint, the Sprint acquisition, and it's been able to offer these speeds that AT&T and Verizon can't for some time now.
And T-Mobile's C-band does not interfere with altimeters?
It isn't C-band.
It's not in that
it's
band.
It's at a different frequency, right? It's at a different frequency. T-Mobile has bought some C-band, but they're not going to set it up till 2023. But it is, in Houston, a lot of this stuff comes here first.
Right.
A lot of, because it's so flat here. So it's a good testing ground. And T-Mobile, Sprint had one of its first stand-ups of its service, and it was remarkably fast. T-Mobile now is very fast. And when they switched it on here on Wednesday, I began hearing from readers on Twitter and Facebook saying that they were starting to see some speeds on their compatible AT&T and Verizon phones that now could kind of match in the center area the stuff that T-Mobile is doing.
How fast? When you say fast, I mean ultra wideband, we're talking a gigabit, but that's
or more.
But this is not that fast. How fast is this?
So this they're saying for C-band it's up to about a gigabit at best. When I was talking to Verizon for this story, they said that kind of what they want to hit is about 300 megabits.
That's plenty.
That is plenty. And on my I have an iPhone 13.
I doubt
Pro
my phone
Max.
could go faster than that, to be honest.
Right. Well, on my iPhone 13 Pro Max, I have T-Mobile, and I have seen download speeds up to 700 megabits on my iPhone.
Oh, wow. So you can go that fast.
Yes. And typically, and what's really interesting on T-Mobile is that if you're down to like 2 bars, I still see like 250 and 300 megabits when I'm picking up one of their
So what is this?
signals.
What does this change? I mean, honestly, you probably don't need that kind of speed, even at home.
It changes it. It changes it for the future. For as we were talking about gaming, mobile gaming. If you're doing streaming gaming, it changes it in terms of.
With gaming, it's not so much speed as latency, right? Is this also a lower latency?
Well, and 5G promises lower latency. We haven't seen a lot of that yet. You do see it on millimeter wave. There's a millimeter
wave only goes 80 feet from the tower.
It goes 80 feet from the tower.
So no one's
line of sight, baby.
It can't get through trees.
Or rain.
But there's a millimeter wave tower about 2 blocks from my house, and I walked over to it with a Verizon phone and stood under it and got 3 gigabits down.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, but that's beautiful. But it's beautiful right there.
At this point, but also at this point, I mean, that's just a number. We don't. I mean, it's great, but it's like saying I have a car that goes 500 miles an hour.
Yeah. And you have to ride around the block under speeding limits and whatnot.
I mean, it is more bandwidth than you need now. There may be uses coming for it,
like vehicle to vehicle communications, things like that.
Stuff like that. Yeah. Right, but in the beginning when you had your first LTE phones, nobody predicted Uber, and nobody predicted that Netflix would go where it went. So there are things that are out there that eventually could end up, making use of that. At the moment, no.
So, okay. I'm sure this airline thing will be worked out at some point. Probably this is mostly
for now it's working. I mean, there are no airplanes falling out of the sky.
No, because they aren't turning on towers within 2 miles of big airports,
which is fine because you can still use regular 5G and even millimeter wave in airports. A lot of airports have millimeter wave installed in them. Some,
for instance, I think Etihad. There are a couple of airlines that cannot fly their 777s to the U.S. for this reason. And so it is some impingement on traffic, not a lot, but some. I think probably this is more like the airplane manufacturers want the phone industry to pay them to fix the altimeters.
Yes.
But that's a good compromise. Just don't put the towers within 2 miles of an airport. everything's going smoothly
so far. You know, the biggest complaint I've heard is from people who have AT&T and Verizon phones and saying, "Oh, I thought it would be faster."
Yeah,
yep.
You know, so
it is heartbreaking. Like after all this buildup,
so much
we are kind of stuck with speeds that are only slightly faster than LTE, like most of the time, and then once in a blue moon, you're in an area and like, you know, Mercury crosses the horizon and you get, you get really fast millimeter wave. And then that's it. You'll never see it again. So.
Well, C-band fixes that. C-band fixes that for AT&T and Verizon. If you're a T-Mobile customer in an area that they have added it, and it's in a lot of urban areas, you are seeing that already. And it's the only use I've seen for it is I was away from home and I knew I was going to be in a place where I wasn't going to have cellular service or good cellular service. And I was getting the 5G UC, which is ultra capacity that it calls for. And I was getting like 500 megabits down. So I quickly downloaded a couple of episodes of something on Netflix and I got it, you know, in just about 30 seconds. And then when I got there, I had it down on my phone, and that was really handy. But that's kind of like I did it.
I mean, one thing people have been talking about is like doing your home internet could just be via cellular eventually. You know, the way the phone service has gone.
Well,
and that could be really interesting for some places.
Isn't Verizon actually rolling that out?
Verizon and T-Mobile both have 5G based home internet services. Verizon, the first 5G Verizon home service was launched here in Houston, again, because of the flat area. It was based on millimeter wave. You have to have kind of the router sits in your window, basically.
You're 2 blocks from that tower. You can't do it, though, right?
No, I can't.
You're too far away.
Well, no. Actually, there's one a little closer now, but it is, there's a crepe myrtle tree between me. I'm serious. There's a crepe myrtle that
Damn the crepe myrtle. Damn it.
Chop it down.
Chop it down.
And
you
so,
know what I did when we used to have DirecTV, and there was a tree. In the winter it was fine, but there's a tree that would get very leafy right in front of the dish. So one day I climbed up and I literally carved a U in the tree. I didn't chop down the tree. I just put a U where the leaves were so that the dish could see through the tree.
Yes, exactly.
Not the best topiary ever, but it got the job done.
And T-Mobile has also has a 5G service. They've had some problems with the Nokia-based radios that they're using for it. It looks almost like a mini version of the old Mac Pro trash can computer, and I had it and it had a difficult time. Wasn't very stable, and supposedly they are replacing those. But I was getting probably with that about 200 megabits down. You know, on my Comcast DOCSIS 3.1 internet service, I've got gigabit service, and the fastest I can get maybe is about 800 megabits. On my phone, it's like 400. But with C-band, I mean, with mid-band on T-Mobile, when I'm out and about, I get 700 megabits down. It's faster than what I get in my living room.
That's wild. That's absolutely wild. There are also other companies like Starry Internet that are doing, home-based internet based on 5G. That is from the former Aereo guy. If you remember.
Aereo. I loved Aereo. They were great.
Oh,
so Starry has been trying. They are in a couple cities right now. A lot of people are experimenting with this. I'm really wondering, like, the AR glasses we're all hoping to see in 5 years.
They would need
5G. They need to be connected. They can't just rely on our phones. They have to be smart on their own. So I feel like that is the future we're kind of like laying out there.